This was me in 2012. I had just had my first child, Lauren, and I gave up my soup and salad bar business to be a stay-at-home mom so that I could take care of her. However, it didn't take me long to realize that that was not the path for me. I didn't like that I was relying on my husband financially 100%, that I wasn't financially independent. I felt like my life lacked purpose, and I started to think, how can I start making money from home and to do so without missing out on my baby's golden growing years? Now, 10 years later, I have a business that allows me to make between $30,000 up to $50,000, $60,000 a month. And I know that it's not huge, but that's by design, because my aim was to never build a huge business that I'm enslaved to, but to build a business that fills me with purpose and that it gives me time to be with my family. And today, I have gotten here, and it had took me a long 10 years, but had I known what I had known now, it would have been just a fraction of that. So in this video, I'll be sharing my entire journey, all the mistakes and lessons learned, along with the journey so that you can accelerate your own journey as a mompreneur. So to go back to the very roots, from an early age, I had always had the drive for financial independence. And this is because of my parents. They got married very young, and I knew that my mom was in an unhappy marriage and she could not leave because she was relying on my father financially 100%. Not that I want her to leave, but it was really unfortunate that looking at her, a very talented woman, because she was stuck, and maybe also because for her love for us, she decided to stay in an unhappy marriage, hoping that perhaps eventually when we are independent enough, she could finally go after her dream. But unfortunately, she passed away at the age of 35 when I was only 13 years old. So looking at that, I know that life is short, so that having that financial independence and just living our life to our fullest, however we want it, starts right now. And I should not ever wait to be happy or find my fulfillment later. So I started working from an early age to pursue my dreams straight after graduating high school. Well, first of all, it's because I had wanted to further my studies, but at that time, my parents or my family just didn't have the money to send me to further my education. So I had a stint in modeling and event management. And long story short, decided to open a soup and salad bar business, which I ran for 2.5 years. As much as I loved the business, the working hours and the stress of a food business were hectic. And as soon as I become a mom, my priority just shifted. All I wanted to be is just be at home to be with my baby. So I decided to leave that business and become a stay-at-home mom. While I enjoy being a mom, I just didn't like waking up every day, have nothing else to think for except what am I going to do with this baby and what am I going to cook tonight. So yes, it didn't take me long to realize that the whole stay-at-home mom lifestyle was not the one for me. And yes, although I do get to spend more time with Lauren back then, just one child back then, now 3, I always felt like there was a void left. I was craving the purpose, waking up, looking forward towards something, right? And being a stay-at-home mom, the easiest place for me to start was from my laptop, to find something that I could work on online in the comfort of my own home. So I decided to start a blog, and I call it The Chill Mom. And that's actually why my current Instagram username is still The Chill Mom. I still remember telling my husband, hey, I'm going to start a blog. This is what I'm going to do. So he was like, you writing a blog? You have no experience. I'm like, hey, I got to give it a try, right? If I don't try, I never know. And I still remember the very first brand that reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love to work with you and we're willing to, give you something in exchange for your writing. And it was Zalora. And for those of you who didn't know what Zalora is an online fashion retailer that's, doing really well, famous brand. And who am I to say no to that? And they were willing to pay me. Guess how much they were paying me? 80 Singapore dollars in store credit. It wasn't even in cash, but I was happy. I was happy that finally I got the recognition. And I realized that later on, even though there are other brands who were willing to finally pay me in cash, they were not willing to pay me more than $100 per blog post. And I'm not a great writer. It would take me 2 to 3 hours to write a blog, and then another 2 to 3 hours to go promote the blog and drive traffic to it. So technically, I'm earning less than $10 per hour, right? And I realized that, hey, this can't be, how many blog posts can I write in a month? This is absolutely not scalable. And every time I try to ask for more, right, I try to increase my price, the brand would be like, we'll get back to you, never to be heard from again. And so I realized why. It's because they saw me as a commodity and that I'm no different from other mommy bloggers, why they should pay me more. So what I decided to do was that I started to want to learn more to how to turn what I know into something else that people would pay for. So what I did was that I turned what I was already sharing freely on the Chill Mom pregnancy and early motherhood tips for free and package it into a maternity concierge service. And so I basically help expecting parents plan the arrival of their babies. And I charge between $500 up to $2,000 and even $5,000 worth of packages, because now I am consulting one-on-one and even actually like providing some of those services, accompanying an expecting mom to her gynae experience, getting confinement nannies for them. And so now all I needed was just 1 or 2 clients per month and I'm good, right? And I still wanted that time to be with my family. And the funny thing is that these brands suddenly now they're like, hey, Michelle, we still want to work with you, but I don't have the time to write $100 blog post anymore. So I started increasing my price. And as I increased it to $500, $1,000, $1,500, they kept saying yes. And do you know why? Because suddenly I have sort of like, I'm no longer just a mommy blogger. I am the only mommy blogger who own a maternity concierge business. And so long story short, that sort of grew. I have more brand partnership, and that has sort of also increased my profile, increased my reach. It helped my maternity concierge business alongside my blog. And then I turned my blog also into a book, or rather the maternity concierge business. For those who could not afford me, I basically just wrote out, hey, for those who can't afford me, all you need to do is purchase my book for only $29. And from there, you learn step by step how to go from this overwhelmed, pregnant, expecting mom to this chill, calm, happy mom who's able to enjoy that 9 months of pregnancy. So 3 years into running and scaling this business, the whole thing, I found myself practically working all the time. And this brings me on to the first big mistake I made and had learned from, which is to delegate. You see, the reason that I found myself working all the time is because the business was made up of just one VA and one me. And I was thinking, hey, no one can do this better than me, or that this is something that I can do myself. I can save more money by doing it by myself, right? But life decided to take control, put a stop to this. I caught dengue fever and found out that I was pregnant with Will at the same time. And this was back in 2016. I was bedridden for almost 2 months, and it took me another 4 months to fully recover and regain my energy. So life really has a funny way of serving you lessons when you need them the most. Because of this time period that, my time and my energy was literally capped at a fraction of what it was before, I had no choice but to somehow get more out of my time. And the results absolutely amazed me. When I was bedridden, my to-do list was fatter than ever, but yet my time was more scarce than ever. So I had to learn how to prioritize, like which activity that really moved the needle and just ignore the rest because I had no energy. And I started to realize that some of the previous tasks that took me hours to complete that I thought were absolutely essential to do were in fact, not essential at all and doesn't even need to be done. Because ultimately, there's 101 different things you could be doing. But some are more impactful than others. It doesn't matter how much energy you're exerting, right? If this energy is spent on spinning wheels instead of actually driving you or your business forward. So you need to focus on what actually makes your business grow. But even after I eliminated a lot of to-dos, I still had a bunch of things left to do. So if you run your business, you know how much work is required. So I started to think, if I can't work, then how can I have things working for me? And so that's when I started creating assets and automations. And assets are the things that you build once and you continue to receive returns from it indefinitely. They're just working in the background, doing work for you so that you have less on your to-do. But not all tasks can be automated. So that's when I learned how to delegate too. And previously, I was so scared to delegate, right? What if X? What if Y? What if I hire a nanny manager who work with other postpartum nannies and the business? And what if it turns out that she was better at the job than I was? What if she takes all my nanny away? And to sum it all up, at the end of the year, despite my illness and a very difficult pregnancy and that, and ultimately working fewer hours, I actually saw a healthy increase in revenue. And it was thriving. It felt like I finally found a hack in running business. The fact that I don't have to run it all by myself. Now, throughout this crazy period, I had documented my journey and all of my learnings on the Chill Mom blog. And people started reaching out to me and asking, hey, Michelle, I started following you since you were this mom, and I would like to start a business too. Could you help me? And that's when I started realizing that, hey, maybe I'm not the only mom who felt stuck, right? And this could be something they like to do too, build a business from home. And that's when I started with one-on-one coaching sessions to sort of test my ideas and to see if I can replicate my success in someone else's business with the lessons that I had learned. And thankfully, it turned out that I could. So one of my very first clients was Xie Yun from Popsicle and Play. So very much like me, she had been blogging, but she hadn't found a way to monetize her blog. She gets lots of people reading her blog, asking her questions about play and stuff like that. But she never actually have a product to sell. So using what I had known, and quickly she pre-launched her product and it sold out within 24 hours. So I distilled what I was teaching my one-on-one clients into a repeatable process to get someone to successfully launch their own business and branded it as Mom Boss Gone. And the first time we launched it, we ran it as a beta test. We got 9 signups at US dollars 2,000 each, and reinvested it back into the business, subscribing to platforms like Kajabi, and I built the course alongside the feedbacks that we get, really iterating really quickly to make it into the best product possible. And then some of our successful mom business owners now have reached the next stage. They want to scale the business, right? So they started having new problems like how to develop their personal brand, how to develop a lead and sales generation system into the business. And that marked our second program called In Demand, and just really helping them with building assets and just really setting a foundation for growth for business owners, especially moms who want to start the business without spending all the time in it. So we have Mom Boss Goal, we have In Demand that helps business owner who really wants to grow without spending more time in the business. We have Sales Mastery. We have a bootcamp that helps people grow their Instagram account. And we also have Momentum, which is a subscription program for you to coach with me twice a month. And the prices for our signature programs are quite high because they are programs that will help you build a thriving business after all, and will bring in back multiples of revenue in return. And we have seen it happen again and again and again with our success stories, our students. But as a budget option, we do have a cheaper option to explore for moms who are probably on the edge or just want to have a taster. That's the Momentum membership community, and you can sign up now for 1 week trial for just $7. And I have included the link below if you're interested. And that's all for my story so far. And if you'd like to stay tuned for what's the next chapter holds, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll keep you up to date and share value on how you can balance motherhood and entrepreneurship effectively. See you next time.